Okay, I think we're on YouTube, I am assuming.
Almost, 1 second.
Okay, no worries.
All right, you're on YouTube now.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in to our Winters College Fall Election Debate. We're just going to give it a few minutes before we begin to let people come in. And yeah. We're just going to be sharing the links to give people access. So we'll be beginning shortly. Okay, we're gonna begin. So hello everyone, my name is Carolina. I go by she, her pronouns, and I am the CRO for Winters College Council this year. And I'd like to welcome you all to our debate. So during this debate, I'll be asking our candidates questions, both position specific and general questions to allow our candidates to express themselves, as well as for our constituents here at Winters College to learn more about them and what they hope to achieve. Afterwards, I will be opening it up to our audience on YouTube Live to ask any questions, whether position specific or general, to let them ask any questions they may have. And yeah, I will let you all know when we have just a couple of questions left before we move on to asking our YouTube Live audience. Now, I will let our candidates introduce themselves with their pronouns and position that they are running for, but also some information to quickly pass along. On our Winters College Council website, They have all written a personal statement, so be sure to check that out. It is under Elections 2020-2021. Alrighty, so I'll be now handing it over to our first candidate, starting with Christina.
Hi, my name is Christina. My preferred pronouns are she, her, and I'm running for first year rep.
Thank you, Lucas.
Hi, my name is Lucas. I go by he, him pronouns, and I'm running for first year rep.
Megan.
Hi, I'm Megan D'Souza. My preferred pronouns are she, her, and I'm running for first year rep.
Isabel.
Hi everyone, my name is Isabel. My pronouns are she, her, and I am running for the position of first year rep.
Thank you. Keisha.
Hi guys, I'm Keisha. I'm also running for first year rep.
And your pronouns?
My pronouns are she and her.
Thank you. Joe.
Hi guys, my name is Joe Cunningham. I'm a second year media arts student. My pronouns are he and him, and I'm running for residence rep.
Grace.
Hi there, I'm Grace Sokolow. I'm a first year theater student. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm running for residence representative this year.
Emma.
Hi, I'm Emma Purcello. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm running for Director of Promotions.
Isabella.
Hi everyone, my name is Isabella. I'm a first year theater student. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm running for Director of Social and Cultural Affairs.
David.
Hey folks, my name's David. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm running for Director of Social and Cultural Affairs.
Thank you. And last but not least, Ray or Rahan.
Hey y'all, my name is Rian. Ray works too. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm running for VP of Athletic Affairs.
Amazing. So these are our candidates for our fall election for the 2020-2021 year. We'll be moving on to our general question, starting off on a nice little if you could be any kitchen appliance, why? So let's start with Lucas.
If I could be any kitchen appliance, what would I be? Amazing question. I'd have to go with fridge. Fridge is like the center of the kitchen. You start off, everything's in your fridge. Before you can cook anything, that's where you go. Your fridge and your cabinets. I'll give the cabinets some credit there too, but I don't even know if cabinets are appliance. So I got to go with fridge for sure. That's where it's at.
Thank you. Megan?
If I had to be a kitchen appliance, the first thing that comes to mind is microwave. Probably because I'm very easy. You can come to me with anything, any food, anything. I'm very open.
Love that. Isabel?
If I had to be a kitchen appliance, I guess I would be a pantry because a lot of people would come to me to store different things. I guess maybe it would be a thought that they have or a concern, or in this case, food, and I would keep it safe for them until they needed anything else.
Awesome. Keisha?
I would probably be an oven because I personally love baking, and I feel like a lot of people would like make cookies and like goodies in like an oven. So.
Thank you. Joe?
I would have to say probably a coffee maker. First thing you go to in the morning, you wake up, you're like, coffee. Need a coffee. I love coffee. Coffee every day.
Grace?
If I was a kitchen appliance, I would probably choose the toaster oven because they're all purpose. You can cook, bake, anything. And I have become like the toaster oven master since we have one here. And so I've become toaster oven master. I made cookies the other day. So I would choose the toaster oven.
Emma?
Okay, so I don't even know if this counts as a kitchen appliance, but I just discovered that these things exist today, and I would be a matcha whisk because they're so like spirally and fluffy, and like I feel like they're energetic like myself and just bizarre and quirky. So I would be a matcha whisk.
Awesome. Isabella?
All right, so if I had to be any kitchen appliance, I would have to be a spork. And that's just because sporks are so multifunctional. If you want soup, you can have your soup. And if there's chicken in your soup, you can even pick up your chicken. It's just so helpful. And they're just seriously underrated. And I think they deserve more attention than they get.
Thank you. David?
I would be a stovetop oven because you can put it on me. I will hold it up and I will get it done. You know, you can give it to me. I'm going to heat it up, going to get things all nice and warm, and I'm self-cleaning. I enjoy that hygiene, you know, and I'm entertaining. You can watch that bread rise.
And Ray?
If I were to be a kitchen appliance, I would choose a blender. I think in a blender you can add a lot of different things to it and kind of come out with one specific product or anything you need. Plus, I mean, they're really loud and fun. I like to think that I'm like that as well. So yeah, blender.
Alrighty, and lastly, Christina.
Honestly, the first thing that came to mind when you asked which kitchen appliance would be, I thought immediately of a whisk because I like to mix things up and keep it spontaneous.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. We're going to move on to our second question. What experience do you bring with you in terms of working on council such as WCC? Let's start off with.
Did you say Megan? Sorry, you lagged a bit.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, Megan. Did you hear the question? Did the question go through?
Yes, I think you asked what experience I would have.
So what experiences do you bring with you in terms of working on council?
Sure. So I've never actually been on a formal council. However, I have always been kind of the one that people go to. I know a lot of people in my theater program can attest to that. I just love to help people. It's always been my biggest dream in life. My theater goal is to write plays that can amplify voices that are unheard. And I really feel like my compassion and my drive and just my overall selflessness, I would say, not to sound a little bit confident, would be the main aspect that would help me.
Awesome. Thank you. Isabel?
Well, at my high school, I was actually on the music council because I'm a music student at York as well. And I learned how to be more responsible and take in people's concerns and create different activities that would promote inclusiveness and a sense of community. I also really value helping people because one of my main goals in life is to make a positive difference through the arts and through education. And I think being in a member of Winters Council will really help me do that.
Thank you. Keisha?
Hi, so I was also part of a council at my high school. I was part of Visual Arts Council, and I was in the Regional Arts program, so I was like a part of that inside the council. So it was all art kids, and it was really cool how we would create projects and we would make murals within the school. So that was really fun, and I felt like it was like nice to be like a part of something that was bigger than me because it gave me something to look forward to, and it was a fun learning experience as well. And then I wanted to join Winters Council because it made me miss high school as well because I was part of like Visual Arts Council in high school, and I wanted to be part of like a bigger community as well in university.
Thank you. Joe?
So I have been a camp counselor in the past. I was a frosh leader for the beginning of the first year. So I've gotten to know a few of the first years already, and being a residence rep, I'm always here if someone needs to talk to. I have the training for it. So if someone needs to come to me and someone's a little bit intimidated by the dons, I know sometimes they can be a little bit scary. I'm always here. Just come knock on my door. I'm here for you, for whatever you need.
Grace?
Yeah, so at my high school, I was part of my dance and my drama council for a really long time. I was really heavily involved also with my student council. And so those give me a lot of experience on knowing how to just be a part of a team and run the council side. But for more of the like personable side that I think my position would have, being in res, like I'm in the theater program, so I've learned how to really listen to people and to respond accordingly and like really focus on their needs and their interests. So that's something that I feel I could bring to this position. And I'm really sociable. I feel I'm really easygoing. Like I really hope at least that I'm really approachable as well. And my door's always open. So I think that's something that I can bring and what qualifies me for this position.
Emma?
Hi. So last year I was the director of initiatives for the Theater Student Association, and this year I am the vice president for the Theater Association. So I really like that sense of community and trying to create a foundation where everyone can feel welcomed and appreciated and just come together as a really big family. And I was also a frosh leader this year, so I've also got to know some of the first years, and just being part of that was so like rewarding that I want to continue like being within that family. So yeah, that's what I can bring.
Isabella?
All right, so if your high school experience is anything like mine, you may know that sometimes those school events that you'll have, whether it's homecoming, semi-formal, those events are often what sticks with you and what makes you feel like you're a part of something greater. And so especially from my perspective, being on the other side of things, part of planning, part of like bringing things to fruition through student council, I had the ability to experience what it truly means to be a part of something bigger than myself, which I think is something that every student deserves to experience throughout their years, whether it's high school, university, whatever program they're in, because ultimately we're here to be a community, we're here to feel at home, and we want to feel like a big family. So through my roles of like social convener, grade rep, and also student council president, I ultimately learned what it means to be a leader and what it means to bring people together. And that's what I hope to do here, to bring people together, all different versions of art, because we're all artists in our own way. And so, yeah.
David?
Yeah, so before university, I was really involved in high school. I was on a lot of councils. I also worked at a summer camp, an arts summer camp, where I was in charge of planning recitals, planning shows. And moving into university, I've been on Theater Student Association for the past few years. I've been treasurer, I've been secretary, vice president, president, and I've been around Winters College as a frosh leader. I've helped out with some of the events that we've done at the AB. I've helped run some of the events that have been done for DT Fest in the past few years. And I really just feel like it's time for me to be able to give back to Winters College in a way that I haven't been able to before. And I want to bring everything I've learned from my past about planning and running and hosting events to Winters College.
Ray?
Awesome. So yeah, in my 3 years here at York, I've had the opportunity to be a orientation leader, a frosh leader, as well as this year being a head frosh leader. So definitely in terms of giving back to the community and sort of building that relationship with Winters College and the incoming students is something that offers a lot. As well as that, something that's a little more position specific. In my 3 years here, I've been involved with Winters Athletics. So on sports teams, participating in events that were also run by council. So that was a lot of fun. Before university, being a camp counselor in high school for sure is another position that I think brings a lot to the table. But yeah.
Christina?
Yeah, so in high school, I was actually part of a club called Social Climate, which was a social justice group at my school. And I was one of the leaders in that club. And I think that relates a lot to this because we did a lot of distinguishing the needs of people in third world or like poor countries and having to or getting to provide them things that they needed by fundraising and things like that. So I think that would really help with communication skills within the position of first year rep. And I was also part of music council, jazz band, vocal ensemble. So I've been part of quite a few teams, as a lot of other people have mentioned, and I know what it's like to be a part of a community. And I on residence, and I really love the community that I'm already experiencing here at York, and especially the one provided by Winters College Councils, and I just really wanted to be part of that.
Lucas?
Yeah, so before I started here at York this year, I was a part of my high school's drama council, my high school's music council, and I was just involved in a lot of things throughout the school. But I think my largest piece of qualifying experience comes from a sort of informal sort of setting through my work at Canada's Wonderland's Halloween Haunt, where I took on a leadership role amongst my maze, and in my first 2 years there, changed the environment of my maze to being one that's much more friendly and inviting for the actors that are involved, and one that really helps to amplify the actors' strengths, which ultimately led to my Monster of the Year win in my second year at Halloween Haunt. Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. We're now going to move on to position specific, and we're going to start off with residence rep. So that's going to be Joe and Grace. So our first question is, how will you ensure that you're hearing all the voices of the resident students and not just the only ones who may be your friends? Let's start off with Grace.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I try to be really proactive as a first year in being in res. Like a lot of times, we have messages on our boards, and I try to actively go into common rooms and sit outside to try and invite some of my neighbors who I don't know as much to come talk to us. And when there's 2 or 3 of us wanting to go out for lunch, we'll actively try and find people who we don't always go with to talk to them. I know I also want to start, we have smaller group chats in res because, it is during the pandemic, so we can't do big in-person events anymore. So, we have small group chats inside of our res. So I want to really reach out to those people who may not be in them or may not know about them yet and get a hold of them, along with the people moving in the winter semester who might not even be here yet. So that's one of the things that I really want to try to get a hold of so that we can build a stronger community and feel comfortable with everyone in the building and not have little cliques.
Joe?
Yeah, so already off the bat, people in res I know have created communities within themselves. Everyone has created their own little groups of friends, and it's great. Every day I go out and I see them expanding even more. My main goal would be to maybe even create a Discord server for the entire res building, so that have a channel in the Discord server so that we could, if anyone needs me or if anyone needs any of the Dons, we're right there. They can just send us a message and tell us, hey, I'm having trouble with this, or hey, microwave on the 4th floor is broken, we need that fixed. Because sometimes it's hard to keep track of where all the Dons are, and it's hard to keep track of where everyone else is, and it would be a lot more helpful, even just for making new friends, because I'm sure there's some people in res who are even struggling to make friends still, just because with social distancing and physical distancing going on, it's difficult to just go and say oh, hey, let's be friends. It's tricky at this time. It's hard for everyone, and I think it would be helpful just for everyone to grow the community if we could just all be together.
Alrighty, our second question now is, the AB will be hopefully running as a study space for resident students. What will you do to encourage students and residents to go to the Absent Pub and Coffee Shop? Joe?
So the Ab, wonderful place to be. I spent a decent amount of my time last year there. Great food, great coffee, always a good time. My main way to get people involved there is if I'm ever passing by someone in the hallway, if I'm ever passing by someone going into res, just message them, tell them, hey, the Ab, it's open, it wants you there, they want you to come. Everything there is welcoming for everyone in residence, and you should definitely go there.
Grace?
Yeah, so actually, a lot of myself and a lot of my friends I know already do studying outside, whether it's at like La Prep or at Aroma. And there's been a lot of talk about going to the AB because, it's more student based and, it's run by students, like all that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to further go myself and get my friends to go, as well as the new friends that we're going to be making in the initiatives that Joe and I both talked about, like group chats and discords. When we make those new connections, go with them, and not obviously in a social distancing way, to make sure that we're staying with that. But since it is going to be a safe space, convincing our friends and the other people in our building to go as well. So that's going to be something that I'm hopefully going to be working on.
Awesome. Next question is, as a residence rep, you're supposed to be in clear communication with the residence council. So how will you ensure there is clear communication as well as collaboration between WCC and Res Council? Sorry, starting with Joe.
So just being able to be at all of the meetings, making sure to keep in contact, give them my phone number, email address, everything that they need, and just be there. Just make yourself known that you are here to help, and I am wanting to do stuff for the residents. I want to make the community greater. I want to make everyone feel welcome, and I want to do my best to make everyone happy in res. So just creating, I'm sure there's going to be group chats, discords, even anything, just being on them. I'm on my laptop most of the time right now anyway, just being able to do schoolwork and everything. So I have Discord open all the time. So if there's ever just a message pop up, I will be there to check it. And just being present in meetings, making myself known every time. That's all we really can do, right?
Grace?
Yeah, so I've already made kind of connections, slight ones with some people on the council already. So hopefully this will just already have a good segue to that. But also the same with Joe, we use technology so much right now because of the pandemic and just because there's so much to do on our phones and our computers. So being present always and having our phones on us so that if anything comes up, we can act on it and act accordingly, as well as through having to deal with online school, I've learned how to time manage and to act when things come up. So say there is an emergency meeting or something, I'm fairly confident in myself that I'm going to be able to time manage my other commitments and my classes to be able to act with that and to make it one of the priorities.
Awesome. And now this is going to be our last question. You hear a complaint from a residence council member stating that Winters College council members are not inclusive and no one wants to attend their events because they feel uncomfortable. What would you do to address this? Let's start with Grace.
Yeah, so I would first try and contact the person who made the complaint if it wasn't an anonymous complaint, and hopefully talk to them and see what they would suggest or what their specific complaint was, things like what didn't they like about the events, to be more specific. If it was an anonymous complaint, I would talk to some people on my floor in a more casual setting, or other people in the building that I might reach out to them if I don't see them every day and talk to them in more of a casual setting and be are you liking the events? Would you suggest? What would you like to see? Putting things in our discords or in our group chats and getting their input to specifically meet their needs and their interests.
Joe?
Yeah, so like Grace said, taking the time to actually sit down with the person who made the complaint and asking them why they feel this way and if there's something specific that they want done. I know a few people on WCC already, and I know they are probably one of the most inclusive councils on campus. And I know that they would definitely be more than happy. And I definitely, if I'm on council, would definitely be more than happy to make everything as inclusive as possible and not let anyone be discouraged from coming to events. Events are fun. That's what they're for. If you don't want to come to events, you don't have to. But we are here to give you a good time and just have you enjoy your time here.
Thank you. We are now going to be moving to our Director of Promotions. Okay.
Hello.
Hello, Emma. Your first question is, the Director of Promotion oversees the successful promotions of multiple events in any given month. How do you plan to time manage all of this along with school and other commitments?
That's a great question. I keep an agenda by my desk all the time, and I'm always scheduling out time in my day to get things done. And I have a good solid 3 hours where I'm not doing anything. So I would easily be able to reorganize my schedule in order to create flyers and posters and videos and anything needed for WCC, as well as that actually is my downtime. Doing video editing and designing stuff like that is my creative outlet that I can step away from school and enjoy that. So I would be able to do that in my downtime just as effectively because it's something that I enjoy.
Thank you. How would you create promotions for events that appeal to a wide audience, such as Winters, and enable people to be engaged? This being more than just posters.
Thank you. Sorry, you froze, so I didn't know if I froze.
Do you want me to say it again?
No, I heard the question. It's just you froze right after the question, so I just didn't know if I froze. Anyway, that was really interesting because I was already thinking today and like a couple weeks ago about wanting to use more video instead of just posters. Video editing is my secret little passion, so I love doing it. And I would really want to use not even like videos of like people in Winters, but yes, use videos of people in Winters, but also like little animated videos. And I'd want to play around with that a little bit more and designing little caricatures to do stuff like that. And just to have things that are colorful and bright and that just grab people's attention. And I would also want to like play a little bit more with like the website and like make that even more colorful and updated. So it's really like reaching people and like attracting people to come to the event so that they're like, hey, I kind of want to check that out now.
Awesome, thank you. Your next question is, how do you plan to handle design changes or critiques?
So being in theater, we are asked to change things 24/7. So for me, that wouldn't really be an issue. I'd be like, yeah, no problem. What didn't you like about it? We'll work on it together. Let's talk about it. Let's discuss it. Let's work it out. So I always want the best product for every person, and I want it to be as inclusive and amazing as possible. So I would be like, yeah, give me your feedback. I love constructive criticism. Like I just got my license the other day, and the guy was like, can I give you some constructive criticism on how to fix that parking job? I was like, yeah, please do. So I love getting feedback, so I would take it perfectly.
Amazing. Your last question. What do you plan to do to have clear communication within your team?
Yeah, I would constantly be using different forms of social media, whatever fits the group. So if it's iMessage, Instagram, Discord, messages, whatever really fits the said group. We just keep in constant communication whenever something gets done, just letting the group know that it's gotten done, or if we have to hit certain deadlines, just be like, hey guys, remember, we got to do this. So it's just constantly being in communication of what we're doing, what we're working on. And if we need help, to use that group chat to like reach out and be like, hey, I have to do this for a class. Can you just quickly add the date to this poster? So it's just constantly being in communication with your team and not being afraid to like fall back on each other if you have to, just as long as everything gets done.
Amazing. Thank you. We're now going to be going back to our general questions. And this time we're going to start with Isabel. So the question is going to be, sorry, how do you plan on doing your part to help ensure that Winters is an inclusive environment for all?
Well, again, my door is always open for people. If they feel like they need to contact me about something, I'm willing to listen and voice their concerns to anybody that could possibly help them. I would also like to create different kinds of activities that would help Winters, not just the first years, but all of the years, to feel more like a safe and inclusive community. For example, I would like to create something like a support group where people can come and talk about what goals they have or their fears, or even something like a study group, something that's just flexible, safe for everybody, and we can just go over things together.
Thank you. Keisha?
Hi, sorry, my Wi-Fi was lagging me. You asked the questions.
Yeah, can you hear me now? I'll just repeat it.
Yeah.
Amazing. How do you plan on doing your part to help ensure that Winters is an inclusive environment for all?
Okay, so from my experience from high school, I would notice that a lot of people were part of like cliques or groups like within their program or something like that. So I feel like since like now we're in university, it's so much more like it's a bigger community and a bigger environment, and there's so many different people. So I feel like if you, I would try to make, like Isabel said, like groups, but also like sort of like activities where everyone could like have something that they are passionate about to like, how to explain this? So if it's something like art related, so if someone enjoys painting, for example, we could have activities where we could do that, and then we could share our works and then talk about that. And then relating to that, I would also have like Zoom calls. Since everything's online right now, we could try to book Zoom calls so we could talk about something, because I feel like talking like face to face or like just over a call is much easier than texting. So I feel like booking Zoom calls for like study groups or like anything where people feel uncomfortable talking over text would be a good idea. So we could actually see someone while we're talking to them. So I feel like that would be a good idea. Yeah.
Grace?
Yeah, so I would try to constantly, shut down negativity and like, anything that doesn't really follow the guidelines or the constitution that is laid out by not only Winters College Council, but like just living in a shared community here at Res and sharing the community just at York generally, as well as going off of what Isabel said, creating maybe support groups and community events that like everyone is actually interested in, like catering directly to the needs and the interests of the people in the building this year. So even if it's something that maybe worked in the past, going out and like actively talking to people to see if they are actually interested in it this year, while creating safe spaces and keeping our community strong.
Joe?
So a big thing, I personally believe there is always room for improvement. So bringing it up at every council meeting, just saying, hey, so what can we do to be more inclusive this week or this month, however long it is between meetings. And we all just pitch ideas. We say, oh, let's do this. Let's start using more inclusive language towards everyone outside of council and everyone inside of council too. As towards events, being part of Frosh, I found that games nights were very popular. So people would really enjoy Among Us. Dungeons and Dragons got really popular. We could have a Dungeons and Dragons club inside of Res. We could all meet up in a Zoom call and just play games together. And just going around to everyone in Res and just saying, hey, what event would you enjoy? What would you like for us to bring to Res? What would you enjoy? Just asking everyone in Res what they would like. Because in the end of the day, we are serving them. We are working on council for them.
Isabella?
All right, so in terms of making sure that everyone feels comfortable in the environment, I think something that's really important on our side of things as a council member is making sure that everyone feels like they belong. And that means feeling represented. That means feeling like you have a place where you can be yourself, not have to change yourself, and feel at home in a community. So to me, I think the biggest challenge is just making sure that with each day, kind of like, I'm not sure who was saying it, but there's always room for improvement. So if we made a mistake in the past, how can we make sure that that doesn't happen again? Or how can we ensure that people are really engaging because they feel like they have a place here? And so I think that the major points here have to be that we are creating a community space where there are maybe smaller groups where people can feel identified in, whether it's you're in this group because you love anime, or you're in this group because you love juice boxes, but overall, all these groups do end up coming together and feeling, hey, we're Winters College, we're family, and we all belong here. We all bring different things, but we belong at the end of the day.
David?
Yeah, in my first year, I remember I moved from Bethune to Winters midway through Frosh, and one Frosh leader found out. And then before I knew it, 15 were at Bethune dragging my stuff across campus for me, who they didn't even know. And that like feeling of belonging that gave me made me move forward through my past 4 years with this feeling that I needed to do the same. I've spent my time on TSA really making sure it was inclusive, especially this past year, and especially in this digital space where people are having a rougher time. And I want to bring that feeling of doing anything to make everyone feel included and part of something this big. Like I want people to feel that through whatever means necessary. And even if that means changing up my language, changing up, the way I phrase things, I'm more than happy to do it. I'm more than happy to take events that I've seen work in Frosh that many people loved and incorporate them. I'm happy to do whatever it takes to create that atmosphere that I felt in my first week of school here.
Ray?
Amazing. So I think in terms of inclusivity and maintaining an inclusive community, it starts first by leading by example. So using inclusive language, so saying y'all instead of things like folks and guys. Something that David touched upon that I also want to touch upon is what worked with Frosh this year. A lot of events, although we had a specific event happening that night, there were also some other events, things like paint night, that went really well for people who don't feel as comfortable participating in as high energy events. So I think using that tool in order to make sure that we're sort of catering to each community that we have within the Winters community as a whole. Another thing too with inclusivity is pulling on training that was actually done. So things like distract, de-escalate, and direct. So specific ways that we can address specific problems that have to do with inclusivity and how we can deal with them effectively and make sure that everybody sort of understands how to maintain an inclusive community. Another thing too, which Joe touched upon, which I also want to touch upon as well, is open discussions with council members as well as other Winters constituents. So making sure that we're always providing constructive criticism if anyone ever feels like an event isn't inclusive, and that's speaking to other council members as well as having open discussions with constituents. The last thing I want to touch upon is also, as the head of health and safety this year for Frosh, a good tool we had was using Google Docs as a way for people to report any specific things that they felt they were uncomfortable with or any incidents. So I think, and they could do this anonymously or they could provide their name as well. This is another important tool just to make sure that if there is something that we see happening in the community that we don't feel is inclusive or constituents aren't comfortable with, we can address them as soon as possible and as effectively as possible.
Megan?
Hi. So I actually am very passionate about inclusivity. And when I first began to run for first year rep, I actually came up with a multi-step plan for inclusivity. So first, I would like to address eradicating ableism. I feel like in the arts community, a lot of us have heard of networking, which is talking to other people so that you can further your career. Personally, this is a very ableist thing. A lot of people have cognitive disabilities or social anxiety, and they can't really talk with others to further their career. And I feel like that should not be the outline of your career, who you know. I feel like it should be based on a multifaceted approach. So what your talents actually are, what you're actually capable of. So with this in mind, I plan to institute activities that will further this multifaceted approach. So for the middle ground between what we have now, networking, and to connecting with others, I would love to do a multimedia contest almost. So for example, if a design major wants to work with a dance major, they can partner up and do something fantastic. However, that is also kind of networking. So for those who have a lot of trouble with, like I said, talking to others, I would love to do more creative activities like Ray mentioned. So things like painting, or I know my sister is actually she's a high up volunteer for the Access Center. And what she does with her ADHD group is they do baking, they over Zoom, they do creative origami together. And I feel like that's a very important thing that we should institute in the arts community. Not only will these creative activities help people like me, a theater major, do things that visual majors do, like painting, but it could help us learn about each other in AMPed, which is something that I really stand for, learning about the other arts. And I think that unity in AMPed is something that we all really need. No one should feel alienated in second year. That is something that I struggled with in high school, feeling left behind because people already made their groups. I would love for us to come together as a community and to override those barriers. And for diversity, I would love to encourage diversity awareness on my platform. I love to reach out to those. I actually ran the York 2024 page, and through that, I got to reach out to a lot of people. So I would love to use my experience with that to reach out to many first years. And like I had mentioned, my sister also is a high-level volunteer at the Access Center. So I have a lot of information and resources so I can guide those who need that assurance with their, like I said, cognitive disabilities, or if they just have general questions. And regarding other diversity awareness, I personally do a lot of advocacy work on the side. So if there's any questions, anything like that, you can come to me and I give you the resources if I can't answer your specific question. Otherwise, I am totally here for you and I'm very excited.
Christina?
Yeah, so I think the first step for, sorry, can you repeat the question? I forgot what word.
Yeah, for sure. How do you plan on doing your part to help ensure that Winters is an inclusive environment for all?
Okay, sorry. Yeah, so I think the first step for inclusivity would be for myself, just to make sure that I'm being open and making sure that people feel comfortable reaching out to me and voicing their concerns or any issues they have, or even just if they need somebody to talk to, just to always be there and make sure that everybody's voice is heard, not only first years, but also up years, but mostly first years. And I think another thing to touch upon is in the Winters Discord that we have right now, I've noticed that we do have the different chats for each major. And I think that's a really great idea how the Winters Council has already worked to create that inclusivity in different majors. And I think the next thing to work on, as some other people had also touched upon, would be to make sure that everybody feels like a community together. And I think another factor to that would be feedback, and making sure that we are getting feedback from the students and also from each other within the council to make sure that we feel that the community we're creating is the most inclusive that it can be, and also that the students who are participating are comfortable, feel included, and that they haven't noticed any necessarily exclusive behavior by us or by other students within the community.
Lucas?
I love this question so much because as the son of a Black Brazilian immigrant and a white mother, I am a living, breathing testament to the importance of a culture of inclusivity, not only within school environments but in the world as a whole. So that is a major priority that I will use my platform to push, which is the narrative of inclusion in all facets of our education and in all facets of our world. But one thing I would love to touch on just as a first year rep is making sure that first years feel included amongst upper years, because like as Megan said, it's something that it could be a problem for a lot of people, feeling alienated from the upper years. I personally, and a lot of people who were at Frosh, Frosh leaders can attest that I always make an effort to meet everybody and to get in all different kinds of circles with everybody. And I want to give everybody that opportunity through events that will assist first years in getting themselves out there and meeting lots of different types of people from across all majors in Winters College. One other thing I would love to implement, which is similar to what Ray was saying with that Google Docs, is I would love to put forth some sort of a direct line between first years and their first year reps, where they can discuss things that the areas where they're not feeling included, or just problems that they have with individuals in their program, individuals in Winters, where the first year reps can then go forth and do whatever is in their power to ensure that this problem is solved, as well as group chats where first years can also communicate with each other.
And Emma.
Hi. So for me, the big thing that a lot of people have touched on also is inclusive language. I think inclusive language is super, super, super important because one word can change literally everything. Another thing, I had something that I was gonna say and then it just totally left my brain right now. I'll remember. But another thing is I think there are so many already Discord channels, but I think just even like adding more Discord channels just for like literally anything would be really interesting to see how people can communicate through that. And also, I think a really big thing is we also have to check ourselves, and a big part of being inclusive is like our body language and the tone of our voice and maybe the way we're looking. So even when we're just sitting in our houses, we might be like slouching or being grumpy and we might just be tired that day, but the way people see ourselves is like it can totally change how that person can feel included. Because if you seem angry or you seem mad, they might not want to approach you, they might not want to talk to you. So that even a super big thing with Frosh is just like making sure everyone was saying something, and if you felt like someone was saying some like talking too much, be like, hey, how about this person who's been super quiet, what's up with you? Like just when you reach out to people, they're more willing to answer, but if they don't feel like they're being reached out to, they won't say anything. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. We're now going to go back to our position specific questions, and we're going to start off with our director of SoCal. So the first question is going to be, in Winters College, we have a very large community with different ideas, interests, and hobbies. How do you plan to reflect what the constituents are interested in through creating events? Let's start with David.
I always find it important to reach out, whether it be Instagram polls, Facebook polls, personally reaching out, sending messages, seeing what people are interested in, and that's been a great thing about being in Frosh these past few years as a leader. So I've been able to see what the general Winters community is typically more interested in, which has been awesome because I've been able to take that and use it. And I really think like bottom line is communication with the Winters community, especially first years. We definitely want to include people just coming in.
Isabella?
Okay, so I think everyone can agree that this whole pandemic and COVID stuff is so tiring at times, and it can be like so draining because it sometimes seems so difficult to connect with one another, especially when we're doing it virtually. But on the other side of things, I do think it's a blessing in disguise because this is a way that we have been able to rediscover communication and finding ways to then reach out to people and making sure that they're hearing us and we're hearing them as well. So I think with social media, we have endless opportunities to then reach out to people. I think even more so than just posting posters up all around campus because, sometimes you just walk past those and you don't want to read them. But I think through social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, kind of like David was saying, polls are so important, or even Google Forms where you can email them out to students, get their feedback, do what they want to do so that they feel like I actually do want to come out. It's not boring. It's something that I am interested in. Making sure that we're really engaging with students and not just putting stuff out there, because too often we just generalize and try to hypothesize what it is students want, but we don't know until we ask. So I think the most important part here is to make sure we are asking, we're putting questions out, we're getting feedback so that we can create what students want so that they have a better environment within the school.
Thank you. Your next question is, the director of SoCal are required to be at all SoCal events. How do you plan to manage your time in order to make sure you can commit to the time that this role requires? Isabella?
So I think it was Emma who mentioned this earlier, but I am just like her in the sense that I have an agenda, a daily planner that sits beside my desk, and it is my handy dandy best friend. And so through my planner, I'm actually able to kind of, like she was saying, just block out times where I'm able to say, this is what I'm focusing on, this is what I have to do, and making sure that I can see things visually because I'm a visual learner, so that I know and I can kind of see my calendar, see my schedule of events and everything that's lined up for me. I think that when you're running for a position that you have to be socially involved and getting people involved, it's the most fundamental part is being there, right? Like you can't tell people, hey, come hang out with us, but not be there, right? So I think hopefully through the work, it's not even a question of can I make it? It's I can't wait to be there because it's just something that I want to be a part of and to engage with other students throughout.
David?
So time management is like all I do. Just being in production design, but also spending the last 2 years as a dramaturgy major, working part-time and then being involved in extracurriculars. All I do is plan my life, but I always make sure that there's time. I always make sure, I'm taking care of myself so I'm ready. And that's what I would do. Like I would make sure I'm always able to be there, be excited, because like, Winter's College events are hella lit.
Thank you. Your next question is, the directors of SoCal often help in the creation of new events. What kind of new event would you like to bring to WCC? David?
Oh my God. There's so many like cool new things that are coming out because we're in COVID. Some I've actually been playing around with are ones that allow for like different bandwidths to play, so that you can actually match up sound and not have it doing some weird Zoom delay. I would love to do like virtual jam sessions with like a proper sound person. I think that would be really cool, especially as these technologies are coming out, because it allows everyone who plays an instrument, who sings, maybe even they just want to read a poem over some music. Like it allows everyone to get involved, hang out, do the thing, and not have a latency issue.
Isabella?
Something that I really want to try to implement throughout this role is the idea of you're not confined to the art that you've chosen to study. I think that when you're surrounded by so many different art forms and you are obviously focusing on your own, it's so easy to get sidetracked and only remember, oh, this is my work, this is what I have to do. And sometimes we just we dissolve in the forms of only seeing what's in front of us and not seeing what other people are creating. And I think as artists, that's such an important factor, getting involved with other people's work, making sure that their voices, their projects and whatever they're creating is like being pushed out there so that we're helping each other. We have to be there to support one another. So through Zoom calls, through nights where we can plan events where, you know, even if you don't know how to draw, we're going to teach you how to draw something today. Or if you don't know how to act, here's one way to fake cry on command. Like different little things that people who, you know, you don't have to take the class or you don't have to be an expert, but you can come, you can join, and you can participate and feel like, hey, I'm more connected to this art community, or I learned something. And who knows, maybe there are kids who will be like, oh my goodness, this is what I've always wanted to do and I didn't even have the chance in the past. I think also like a great pastime for me throughout quarantine was playing virtual games with my friends. My favorite one, I'm not sure the actual website name, but it's like Pictionary online. And it's like they give you a title or like an object and you have to draw it. And like it's such a ridiculous thing because, you know, these are things that maybe you did in the classroom at elementary school or things that you've overlooked. But now when all we have is this virtual form of connecting with one another, these games are suddenly like so much more fun and so much more engaging in just ways that we can actually connect to one another. So I think that through activities where we can try out different medias, try out different art forms, and realize what else is out there besides what we've been working on and what we've been practicing all our lives, and as well as playing other games and getting involved with different communities within the arts, we can really make sure that events are pertaining not just to one art form, but to all art forms and bringing people together.
Thank you. And our last question is going to be, sometimes being on SoCal means that you have to think on your feet. In a situation where someone is acting inappropriate during a Zoom call, for example, using exclusive language, how would you deal with this situation? Isabella?
So I am so, how do I say this? I am very passionate about the idea of making sure that everyone feels included and everyone feels respected, that you can be in a space, you don't feel targeted, and you feel like you are safe there. So if there is ever any instance where I find that someone is being disrespectful, non-inclusive, or just making someone else in the group kind of feel like they don't belong there or just uncomfortable in any way whatsoever, I would take it upon myself to remove that person from the group. So that is no longer a space where they can continue to push out that negativity. And then take the time to have discussions on both sides. And if it's something that, you know, whatever that individual said, I want to make sure that they understand why this is offensive, why we don't tolerate that kind of action, and how it affected someone else. And then also reach out to the other end of it, the people who were affected by it. Make sure that they understand this is not something we stand for. We are so sorry this happened. It was something that we planned, because obviously something like that is so unprecedented. But if it happens through one of our events, that may be something that a student would associate with Winters Council, right? So understanding that it does not in any way condemn what they have done, and we cannot displace it as something that happened through our events, but we are so apologetic that you ever had to experience this. And if both students are willing and they do feel like it's something that maybe the one who said something in the wrong understands, oh my goodness, I didn't even realize that was offensive, set up a way that they can communicate it, talk it out, and make sure that both people are reasonable and understanding that either this was a mistake or I apologize for what happened.
David?
I think along the same lines. Like I would definitely, especially on like Zoom or Discord, put the person making the inappropriate comments in a breakout room or a whisper chat, and I would move in there. And I would, first of all, explain why what they're saying isn't appropriate, because a lot of people may not know that something is offensive to someone. But I would also make sure they understand that we don't tolerate that, because although they may not know, we still can't stand for it. I would also make a separate breakout chat to check in on the other person. And I would try and reconcile the situation. If the person honestly didn't know and just wants to apologize, I would oversee, make sure that went okay. If the person was trying to be hurtful, I would kick them out of the Zoom call or kick them out of the Discord. And then I would pull the other person aside and apologize. And I would make sure there is damage control, because nobody should have to deal with such a situation.
Thank you so much. Well, now going to be moving on to our VP Athletics, which is Ray. So your first question is, how will you keep Winters constituents active even though we are not on campus and do not have access to the gym currently? differently?
That is an amazing question. Kind of going off of the lines of what Isabella said, I think the pandemic in and of itself has been sort of a blessing in disguise. A lot of times, even being involved with sports myself throughout my years here at York, there aren't as many people who are always comfortable participating in physical events. What the pandemic kind of allows is a way for us to sort of rethink as to how we can keep people involved in athletics. A great way to do that is through esports. Playing games online with your friends or with one another, with other Winters constituents, is a great way to sort of keep interest in athletics, even though it may not be strictly physical athletics. Another way too is through being the head of health and safety. I had the opportunity to sort of record workout videos and athletic videos for people in the community to sort of get involved with, participate in. That doesn't have to be specifically on campus as well. Not with just athletics, but also promoting healthy lifestyle, I think is something really important that I want to sort of push forward with this position. With athletics comes leading a healthy lifestyle. So a couple of different mediums to do that through are through Zoom, through IG Lives, which is something that we did throughout Frosh as well as keeping people enthusiastic. I think making sure that events are being hosted, they're being posted. Everyone has an opportunity to sort of have access to them, whether it's through Discord, through Zoom, throughout whatever other sort of electronic medium we decide to use. Yeah, great question. Thank you.
No worries. How do you plan bridging CIRC, which is Sports, Intramural, and Recreational Council, and Winters College Council together?
Awesome. So yeah, so CIRC, like you said, so CIRC, the Student Intramural Recreation Council, they're a York-wide council, so for all events on campus, and it involves all of the athletics VPs from every other council. I think a good way to bridge them together is sort of as the VP of athletics, it's a responsibility to be present at those meetings, and those meetings are very collaborative in order to help everyone sort of understand what's happening with intramurals and how we can adapt them to be more inclusive and more just better in terms of the kind of circumstances we've been given through the pandemic. A way to bridge that is through council meetings, bringing up the information that was brought to me through those CIRC meetings, figuring out a way as to how to delegate certain responsibilities that I may have been given through that meeting, as well as understanding how we can sort of adopt some of those suggestions into our own council, ways that we can include to be more inclusive with not just campus-wide athletics, but even the athletics that we provide and we strive for here at Winters ourselves.
Amazing, thank you. So this is a situation question. You create a team with players, but no one shows up. What do you do, and what do you do to get them to show up next time?
Awesome. So something that is involved in the VP athletics position is also the captain's committee. So the captain's committee is something that is, so the VP of athletics or the director of athletics, we sort of delegate specific people, whether they be council members or just other members in the community, to be captains for teams. That way, if I'm not able to be there in person or online, we always have someone who is involved in the sports community who can be there. If that person is also not able to be present, I think quickly myself get involved as soon as possible, figure out which event doesn't have who needs to be there, as well as creating a group chat, I think, in the beginning of people who are team captains, if we have a captain's committee, making sure that they're able to voice their opinions and also any problems they have if they're not able to show up, making sure that that information is made available sooner rather than later, rather than right before the event. Last case scenario, I think show up myself or make sure I'm able to reach out to someone who can be available to participate in that event.
Thank you. What are some of your ideas for athletics this year in terms of intramurals, but also for the Winters community specifically?
Amazing question. So the way that sports are kind of run throughout at York is through IM Leagues, which is a website where York will post all the sports that are being provided, the teams, who's on the team. I've already taken a look at that website. Sort of the things they're doing is there is one, I believe, one campus sport that is being allowed to run right now, which is badminton. And then the other events they have are sort of bingo nights, so trivia, sports trivia. Those are all made public and to anybody who has IM Leagues. So I think promoting IM Leagues as a platform is a way to help people help people know that there are still events happening sports-wise. In terms of myself, a couple ideas I have for athletics at Winters is something I already mentioned, which is esports. So organizing sports games that can be played with anybody in the community, promoting healthy lifestyle as well. So workout videos, other types of videos, things like that, to sort of keep promoting athletics that maybe we can do at home or that we can do online, as well as sort of an event that we had during Frosh, which was like healthy breakfasts. I think that's a really important thing to sort of push forward, not just with athletics, but again, the healthy lifestyle. But given the circumstances we are in right now, I believe esports will be one of the main ways to keep promoting athletics throughout Winters this year.
Thank you so much. We're now going to go back to our general questions. The first question is, what do you hope to achieve by the end of this year? We're going to start off with Isabella.
All right, so a little personal aspect here is a main reason I really want to get into the arts is because I have this dying obsession. I don't know what it is, where I can't agree with the idea that I would like die and not have known as many people as I possibly could. Like, I love the idea of meeting new people, of getting involved, just leaving an influence, whether it be on my, like through my own work or through other people's work, and just making sure that like, you know, I live my life, I met so many people and I just engaged with as many things as I could. So throughout this position, I would really hope that through events that are running, even just Discord chats or group chats, I have the opportunity to meet and extend my personality and who I am to multiple groups through, whether it just be throughout Winters Council or just anyone at York University, because I just want to get out there. I want to meet new people. I want to make sure that people feel represented, that I am someone they can come to, that they are comfortable around. And ultimately, I just want to make sure that everyone has an experience that they can look back on and say, those are the best years of my life. Like, I am so thankful that I participated. I'm so thankful that these events were run for me so that I could have had this. And I think being a part of that is something that is so extraordinary because, you know, it's great enough to participate, but even more engaging and just amazing if you can just be a part of the planning and coordination of those events. And I think we lost Carolina.
So I can take over for the order. Yeah, Carolina was unfortunately taken out of the call. Grace, do you want to continue?
Definitely, I can continue. So what I want to like kind of have at the end of the year and going forward is I want to be able to help make a strong community in res. Like, I want to be able to walk away from res and know everyone in my building, and I want everyone else to walk away and feel confident that their friends that they made will stick going forward. And I want the decision to live here and live in this building to be like one that they're happy they chose. Like, I want them to be like, yeah, I lived in res, woo! Like, I want it to be positive. And I want to make this year as easy as possible because we're already dealing with so much. It like worried about, you know, like seeing someone in the halls or even like the precautions we have to take, that should not be a worry. So I want to make this as safe as possible and have people happy they chose to live in this building. That's it.
Okay. Next, David.
Yeah. So like I said, like in my first year, Winters made me feel so included within the community. And like I hadn't really felt that before, especially coming from a small town and not being sure anything about Toronto really. And like I've been trying to give back, and I feel like I've given back to the theater community, but I have like this pit because I haven't been able to give back to Winters everything that they've given to me, especially like with all the connections I've made, all the people I've met, and the way it's broken me out of my tiny little shell where I didn't even want to join the events. I just wanted to stand off to the side. And I wanna leave Winters at the end of the year knowing that I created an inclusive space where I was able to give back to a community that has already given me so much.
Okay, hello everybody. I am so sorry. My Wi-Fi just kicked me out, but I'm back now. Thank you so much, Ray, for handling that. I literally panicked, but we're back. Let's just go with Joe. I don't know the order anymore.
All right, let's go. So my main goal this year is just to create the community the Winters has done so well over the past few years. I know last year in my first year, being able to have an in-person environment was incredibly helpful, but with everything that's going on right now, it's a challenge just to create a strong community, especially with all the first years coming in. Frosh did a wonderful job. I'm sure a lot of first years can attest to that. Frosh included so many people. We tried our best to bring the winter spirit out and bring all the first years into our college. But I believe that even with this pandemic going on, there is still ways to bring out everyone and introduce them into the college far more than we already have. I believe that there are still ways that no matter what, Winters College is a family, and we need to show everyone that.
Thank you. Emma?
Yeah, so really similar to Joe, like Winters is such a family. Like my main goal is to really keep that and to bring that out even more. Like fun fact, I wasn't even supposed to go to my frosh for like, I just showed up to pick up my frosh kit and then I kind of got like dragged into it. And that was a moment that I would never forget. And my parents looked at each other and were like, yeah, she's not leaving. And I met some of my really great friends because of Winters. And like David said, like I want to give back to that now, like early on in my university career, so I can continue to be a part of it year after year and just continue to give back to it because it's such a great community. And I just want to continue to be with that and like keep the family. So like Frosh Week is every week.
Let's go with Megan.
Hi. So I just kind of want to tell a little story that kind of relates to what Emma was saying. My need to be on council started actually 5 years ago when my sister was moving into university and I pretended to be her. I was in grade 8 and I celebrated French and I told everybody I was a law student and it was so fun. And that was the greatest experience of my life. The community sense that I felt, I desire to bring that to the Winters community. Also, my main goals would be just to bring awareness to equity, especially to eradicate things like I mentioned before, ableism, Islamophobia, transphobia, homophobia, misogyny. I want to really educate people on the things that I've educated myself on. Like I said, I do a lot of advocacy work. So I've read a lot of scholarly articles. I've read a lot of books. I've attended lots of protests. And there's a few issues that not a lot of people know about, like intersectionality in women. And I want to really address and talk about the trans community, as I am really have a lot of close friends in that community. And I would love to address some of the things that are not really heard of. You know, the first step is pronouns, which I think is a beautiful thing to see, but I'd really like to push that and really educate more people inside of the Winters community, because all of us in Winters are so interconnected with, you know, we owe our careers to a lot of the people that are being oppressed. And I think that that goal is to really reel back in those people who built our careers, to really show that they should be at the forefront. And with that being said, I think that a really big concern for me is the lack of mental health awareness for the BIPOC community. We see a lot of movies, and who is the star of the movie? It's white people. I think it really should be a lot more diverse, because they're the ones that are being oppressed. They're the ones that have that disconnect and don't know where to go. So I would love to create that goal of open speech and open communication. With that being said, I'd also like to eliminate alienation. That's a huge goal. Like I said, in second year, nobody left out. I would love for all the arts to intermingle. We all should, by the end of this, be at least in touch with one other art. I know that I've wanted to major in every single art at one point in my life. I thought I was a music major, not with this voice, but I wanted to be so bad. But I really believe that everybody should try another part of Amped Out, and that's what I really truly believe in. So thank you.
Christina?
Yeah, so for my personal goals, I think one of my main goals for this year, well, actually every year, is just to leave this year with no regrets in terms of like being involved. And I sort of have this philosophy that if an opportunity is sent my way, I should try and take that opportunity, because you never know what's going to come out of it. And I think it's really important to try to make sure that the other students, especially first years, can leave this school year with the same sort of idea, that they don't have any regrets, that they don't wish that we had this certain event, or they don't wish that they'd attended it. Like, so I could help, I want to help people in terms of that by making sure that everybody is aware of all the events that will be taking place, but also making sure that all the events that people want to see and want to attend are happening. So that's one of my goals.
Lucas?
Great question, Carolina. I think, this year will be forever remembered, I think, in the history books, for real, because it was one where we faced, as a world, sickness, death, literal fascism, essentially. And it is one that has been so difficult for, I think, everybody to navigate through. And to further sort of represent my goals, I have to turn to, if you've read my campaign statement, my mantra, which I've turned into my campaign slogan, ad astra per aspera. That is a Latin term meaning through adversity to the stars. I, as a member of Winters Council, would love to start planting the seeds this year to a greater Winters College, one that is accepting of all people, all races, sexes, genders, sexual orientation, everything you can. It doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter where you come from, it doesn't matter anything. As long as you are a member of Winters, as long as you are a person, you matter to me, you matter to Winters Council, you matter to Winters College, you matter to York University, you matter in general. And that is my goal, to begin planting the seeds of a Winters College that can be a place, like a sanctuary to all people, even people outside of Winters. For people that will look at Winters, instead of saying, oh, that's the arts college, they'll look at Winters and say, that is such an amazing place with such amazing people who love everybody and are accepting of every single person. And I think that is so imperative that we break through the adversity of this year that may seem horrible and may seem just so like a big weight on your shoulders, that we all use our combined strength to carry this burden and move forward onto bigger and better things in our world, in our society. But first, we have to start within our college. Ad astra per aspera.
Keisha?
Hi. I just wanted to for me, like the main goal would be to make sure everyone's included and everyone feels accepted and valid, because especially for first years, this is like such a new experience for us. Everything's online and it's really different than how it would be in person. So I feel like creating like a positive environment and like making sure everyone feels included, and just making sure that everyone feels like they have a place in our college as well would be the first step, because we're not able to engage in person, so we'll have to settle for Zoom calls and be interactive in this way. So I feel like we need to make sure everyone's on the same boat and no one feels like they're falling behind or they feel left out or they don't feel like they have a place in our college. So that would be the main goal.
Isabel?
Yeah, so one of my main goals would be to just create a huge family, not only within the first years, but also within Winters itself, and York and outside of York, because I know this year we've dealt with so many things. I've seen flat out racism and homophobia and just so much evil in the world. And I think as a student, not only I've dealt with that in school, and I know York also has problems with racism and sexism, and we should be able to have not just a safe community, but a personal community at York as well, where everyone feels represented. And I think we can do that not only with ourselves, but also we have the power to use the arts and education and make a difference in York and in Winters and outside in the world too. And I want to just use my voice to be an advocate for all of that and for the first years as well.
Thank you. Emma?
I thought I already
Did you
went.
go
Sorry.
already? Did you go already?
I believe I did, but I
Okay,
can't.
sorry. I might
It's all good.
Ray?
Yeah. Again, great question. I think in terms of goals, along with keeping the community inclusive, as well as creating a safe space for students to both create and participate within the community, more position specific in terms of athletics. Being here the last 3 years, I've definitely seen that sort of stereotype that because we are the arts college, we're not as active in other things like athletics or other things that people might enjoy. So I think kind of breaking that down and helping people understand that although we are the arts college, we also have a lot of other things to participate in, like athletics. In doing that, keeping people enthusiastic and wanting to participate in the sports, even though given the circumstances, they may not be in person, but other ways to do that, like through esports, through IG Lives, through Zoom calls, things like that. I want Winters to continue to be a place where those who are also involved in the athletics can still feel as though they're able to participate and coexist with other with other colleges that are also involved in sports as well. Given what we're going through right now, I think this is a really important year with inclusivity in sports, using different mediums to sort of allow athletics to continue to happen. And with that, the main goal is to create an infrastructure this year that can be carried into further years, allowing for people who may not feel as comfortable or feel as included in terms of physical sports to still be included in athletics in some way, shape, or form.
Thank you so much. Everyone has went, right? Sorry, Wi-Fi cut, but everyone has went? Amazing. We're now going to go into our last position specific questions that I've prepared, and it's our first year rep. So our first question will be, how do you intend on representing the voices from all the Winters programs and not just your own? Let's start with Christina.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think, like I said before, one of the main things would be for personal relationships and allowing people to feel comfortable enough to reach out in order to voice their concerns. But another thing for AMPD wide first year sort of conversations would be to make sure that we have some group chats. Maybe we could have some things on Discord or even some first year specific events just to make sure, well, I guess we had Frosh, but some more just to check in on everybody and make sure everybody's doing well as the year goes on. I think things like that would be really good, and a lot, as Megan had mentioned, with the integration and making sure that the different arts feel comfortable to combine with each other and converse, have comfortable and safe conversations about their art styles. But yeah, just making that safe environment and also organizing things specific for that.
Lucas?
Hi. So through my work with the Institute for the Performing Arts, which is a musical theater institution based in Vaughan, I was able to explore all different areas of performance, theater, which is my major, as well as music and dance. I also have friends who are in film. A close friend of mine is in film, a close friend of mine is in visual. I've had the unique opportunity to become encapsulated in all different areas of AMPD. And I strive to, one of my biggest things as an artist is to further push the unity of all arts, to realize that they all work in synchronicity with each other, and that there is no such thing as an art that is better off on its own. As far as an artist goes, I think one major thing that I would like to put forth is I want to be there for everybody, but I especially want to offer my hand to a lot of men out there. There's a lot of issues involving men that often go unspoken. I think there's a lot of stigma towards men with regards to speaking out about their emotional problems. And I want to be there for a lot of the guys on campus too, to put forth something, maybe, something you're not comfortable speaking with, anyone else about. I want to be there to just be, I'm your boy, we're boys. That's it, right? If you're of age, we'll grab a drink or something, we'll talk it out, and we'll be chill like that, right? But as far as, representing women, I obviously can't represent women's issues. I'm not a woman. I can't assume to know what it's like, but I do want to say that no matter what, no matter who you are, no matter what your gender is, whatever your gender identity is, I am here for you. You can talk to me about anything at any time, any place. I'm there for you, and I will do everything in my power to get you the help and support that you need. It does not matter. Like I was saying in my previous sort of spiel, it does not matter who you are. You are a person, and you are valued in my eyes. So you come to me with anything, and I am there. Through, again, the forum that I was talking about before, the direct wire between me and the first years, they can come to me with any issues privately, and we'll work it out together. And yeah, that's that.
Thank you. Megan?
Hi, all right. So firstly, I want to talk about actual direct lines of communication. Like I said, I ran York U 2024, and I kind of saw what worked and what didn't work. So Instagram group chats, and that didn't really work because there was a limit on them. And I found that the best thing was Discord and WhatsApp. So I would like to continue those means of communication. In terms of more of a general sense, I have never put my needs first. That is something that I think is very selfish, especially when you have a position of power. I have educated myself plenty. I would say I am a highly active feminist, and I have been for many, many years. And I think that one thing that Lucas touched upon is for advocacy for men. This doesn't just include, I would say for me, it's a genderless advocacy. I kind of want to break the barrier between men and women and kind of make it so it's a advocacy for everybody. I feel like sometimes if we were to label who it's for, a lot of people, especially the trans community and the non-binary community, don't know where to fit in. And I think if we have a general advocacy, breaking down stereotypes like toxic masculinity, breaking down things, talking about sexual violence, talking about, opening up those conversations that pertain to gender, I think we can create a really great community. I think that I once worked with a men's shelter actually, where we discussed why there's a stigma with coming up with emotions and talking about emotions. And the thing is, they don't feel heard. I would love to open up the discussion for maybe men and women and all of those lovely trans and non-binary people to all come together and really discuss an open communication, open dialogue. I think that's extremely important because the main problem, the root problem with everything is ignorance. Once the ignorance is gone and there's education in place, then we can move forward. I have already dealt with racism and inside of the theater community. I've called it out. I've stopped it right in its path. I educated them. I've not heard a peep from them since. And I think that's one of the things that's very important is education. I am not neutral. There is no neutral to racism. There's no hearing their side because their side is pure ignorance. So I believe strongly in education. I also really like what Christina said about those monthly check-ins. I think that's a great idea. I think that the Frosh Week is a really great thing, but like I said about advocacy for cognitive disabilities, not everyone's able to go to opportunities like Frosh because they don't feel socially comfortable. To have those monthly check-ins and perhaps institute ideas that can differentiate with like the arts. So like, you know, if we have like a monthly check-in and we also do like painting, then we can have the visual arts students maybe kind of help out with like running that. And then like they can like teach what they know. And then we can have like switch it up every month, you know, music majors come in and, you know, they can teach their music. And that would be beneficial to me as someone in theater because I wrote a play called The Diverse Art, which included every single art form I could think of. And I had music majors teach me how to write music, and I wrote a song, and that's the first. I was so shook that even happened, and I really believe that if we come together on a project monthly, that we could really educate ourselves and enhance and enrich our own majors. Finally, I kind of want to leave off on one thing is that I don't believe in being colorblind. I don't believe in seeing no differences. I believe in being rich in what we see. Beauty and diversity, baby. Beauty and diversity.
Thank you. So next up will be Isabel. And just a reminder, the question is, how do you attend on representing the voices from all the Winters programs and not just your own?
Of course. So I know right now there are many different types of group chats and discords, but I've noticed that a lot of these are concentrated within a specific discipline and within a specific program. And what I think we should do, I agree with what Megan said, we should create more discords or WhatsApp groups with all types of students within all of the arts forms, because I believe in order to truly succeed in our art form that we're trying to specialize in, which I don't really believe in either, because I believe that all of the arts forms should come together and kind of create this huge community and not only showcase what we're good at creatively, but also create more educational programs. And I noticed I was looking through the Winters College website, and there are also a lot of clubs, but a lot of them are specifically for specific disciplines. So I think we should create more that revolve around support and more for bringing together all these types of art forms. For example, support groups, for example, creating various showcases or allowing people to open up their minds and explore different pathways. I'm a strong believer in that. And also starting up conversations about serious issues, because I know that's a big deal this year, especially, but it should always be talked about, such as, you know, racism and sexism, because I have been victims of that for my entire life. And it's time to take down those barriers. I want Winters to be a community where everyone feels safe, where everyone feels like they can just talk to anyone and they will feel heard no matter what.
Hi. What Lucas was saying about how all the arts overlap, I feel like that's a really important point, because it's not like one is better than the rest or one is above another. So we're all equal. And that also goes for saying every person is equal as well. And there are like several issues that are going on right now. So I feel like if we do create more support groups, like Isabel said, and more like opportunities where people feel like they don't need to be restricted in a certain program to join. So for example, if there's an art session or something, or like painting or drawing, something like that, you don't need to be an art major to join. Like a visual arts major, you can join if you're a theater major or a music major, and I feel like that would really help. And I just really want to make everyone feel included. And just accepted overall, because that's the main goal, of course.
Amazing, thank you. The next question is, what will you do to engage with first-year students who are more on the shy side? Now, because we are having like a couple of minutes left, let's try to make the answers to these questions just a minute long, just kind of speed round it. So let's start with Lucas.
Hi, sure. So as the Frost leaders can attest, like I said previously in the debate, I have a very explosive personality and I love to talk to all kinds of people. So I will consistently reach out to all different majors. I know right now I'm currently in the theater Discord as well as the music Discord. So hopefully I can dip my toe into sort of all different AMPD Discord chats, and I can reach out to first years and I can check in on them every once in a while. How's it going? How you doing? And just make sure they're feeling included in everything and keep them up to date on all the events that we have planned. Yeah.
Amazing, thank you. Megan?
Hi, like I mentioned, I said I do have a multi-step plan in place for those who feel a little bit on the shyer side. In terms of reaching out to people, I am extremely bubbly. So I will love to take the first step and to talk to them and to come to connect with them. Like I said, I would love to participate more inside of the Discord, and hopefully, if instituted, a larger Discord for first years, I can communicate with them and just to generally create a stronger bond.
Oh, I think she just froze. Okay. Oh, her Wi-Fi cut out again. I'm just trying to see what the order. Give me 1 second, sorry. Okay. Isabel?
Isabel, you're next. I'm so sorry. My Wi-Fi.
Okay. So I am actually an introvert myself. I know how it feels to feel alone. I know how it feels to struggle to reach out to people, especially when you're dealing with things at home or in your personal life. And so I've noticed that what is best, not only for me, but for everyone, is direct support, directly just reaching out, maybe talking in small groups, because I find that people feel most comfortable when they're more one-on-one or when they can see your face, and they just feel safe to talk about anything. And also going into, again, the different Discord groups and creating a huge one, where people can just talk to me about anything they want.
Thank you. Keisha?
Hi. So for most of my life, I've also been an introvert, and it's always been hard trying to connect with people and trying to like with the universe and to feel included. So I feel like for this position, like mentioned before, there's an option to make larger group chats where people feel more included, and especially when there are people who are scared almost to like talk to others because they're so shy and very like to themselves. So I feel like, yeah, directly messaging them, or another option would be trying to ask others if they would feel comfortable joining before you would create a group chat. So if you would message them and ask them, and trying to clear things out before anything goes further.
Thank you. Christina?
Yeah, so I think something really important in getting the shyer students involved would be to reach out to different friend groups that might have already formed and make sure that every person within them feels comfortable enough to come. But another really important thing to note when reaching out to people, and especially in one-on-one situations and in group situations, but is to make sure that you're not overstepping boundaries in terms of, if someone's shy, we can't push them and force them to come. But I think it is really important to reach out, especially personally, to make sure they know about all the events that will be happening, or they know that there's a group chat, and see if they want to join, just like Keisha had said, make sure that they want to be in that. But yeah, I think asking around and seeing if people that they know, who might want to join, or even in the program wide group chats, being like, is anybody know anybody who we should reach out to? And then specifically people on council, or the first year reps, reaching out to see if those people would be interested in joining.
Thank you. Alrighty. Our last question. So for folks who are watching on YouTube Live, now would be an amazing time to ask any questions you have, as I'll be looking at them afterwards. But our last question for our first year reps is, what are 3 qualities of your leadership that will make you a positive contribution to council? Let's start with Keisha.
Hi, so 3 qualities would definitely be that I'm really ambitious, courageous, and hardworking. So I always try to look for opportunities where I feel like there would be a chance for me to grow as an individual and also help others do the same. So I really want to be a part of something that's bigger than myself. I want to be a part of a group, and just so I feel like I'm a part of something and like a part of a community. And yeah, so, and another I really want to also just know that I want to try my hardest as well. And I promise to put as much effort that I put into my own personal career and into this position, because I do want to see our AMPD family thrive and flourish and succeed.
Thank you. Isabel?
So I think my first quality would be that I'm very driven and ambitious, and this can be seen through some of my previous things that I've done, such as I'm a pianist, so that I spend a lot of time practicing as well when I'm not studying or talking with other people. And I know how to work towards goals that I'm really passionate about. And this leads into my second quality, which is that I'm deeply passionate about making real change, about inspiring people to go out and do whatever they're passionate about and use that to make a positive impact in the world. And as well in Winters College and within the first years. And I am also able to connect with a variety of people because I am pretty well versed in a variety of the arts. I'm a musician, I've been a teacher, I've been a dancer, and I've had my time in theater as well. And so I know how to work with those different groups, and my focus now is to bring them all together.
Thank you. Christina?
Sure, I'm just going to keep it short. I think that my first quality would be that I'm really enthusiastic. I love York. I have big school spirit. I'm a really hard worker. And my last one would be that I'm versatile. And I think that versatility is something that's really important right now, versatility and flexibility, just with all the changes that are happening and constantly having to learn new platforms or try different things, see what works. So yeah, those are my 3 qualities.
Thank you. Megan?
Hi. So first off, I'm creative. Like I said, I'm also very well versed in the arts. I am currently in theater, but I have dabbled in music, visual arts, film. I did a little dance, media design. I'm hardworking. At one point in my life, I had 2 jobs. I was volunteering at a theater. I was writing my own play, which I did every single part for. I was a tutor, and I was painting a mural. I'm not sure if I said that. And I also had school on my shoulders, and I love it because I live for hardworking. And I'm also an activist. I think I've made that abundantly clear that I would love to fight for people.
And lastly, Lucas. Oh, Lucas. I can't hear
Hi,
you.
sorry. Yeah, can you hear me now? Yeah, perfect. Hi, so what makes me a good leader? First thing, I definitely have to say my explosive personality. Like I said, like it's just, I love people and I love meeting everyone that I possibly can. The next thing is a lot of people say I am a natural born dad. That's just the reputation that I have, meaning that I am nurturing by nature. And I think I may be a little intimidating at first when you see me in, like if you see me in person, but that intimidation slowly turns into a sense of safety, knowing that like you have me on your side, sort of thing, and knowing that I will do whatever I can to fight for you. I think those are two things that make me an amazing leader, as well as just, of course, like I said, my experience as a leader at Halloween Haunt, my experience in drama council, and yeah, keep it simple. I'll just stop at that.
Amazing. So I've opened it up to our YouTube live. So I'm now going to ask some questions that they have asked. Our first one is going to go to our directors of SoCal. Hey there, I have a situational question for the directors of SoCal. At the end of every year, Winters College has their formal I cannot read right now, has their formal event. During the event, you notice that someone is very intoxicated. What do you do in a situation like this? Let's start with Isabella.
Actually, throughout student council in high school, we actually had this exact scenario happen, which is pretty unfortunate sometimes, especially because it can really kill the vibe that you were having because you just want everyone to enjoy themselves. And sometimes people like to enjoy themselves a little too much, which can be problematic. And so in that case, I think the safest bet is one, to ensure that this person is of legal drinking age. Two, that they are safe. I think that the top priority, like at least for me, is not to punish. It's going to be to make sure that this person has a safe way of getting back, is not like terribly ill, does not have alcohol poisoning. And if so, if there's anything that they do need, whether it be medical advice or anything like we need to call an ambulance for them, then make sure all of that is taken care of, because we want to make sure even though poor decisions were made, we are doing everything we can to keep them safe and healthy. And then afterwards, obviously, we would probably have to escort them out of the event and make sure that they understand the guidelines and understand that we do ask that you act within reason and that you are responsible for your actions. So just making sure that this is something that we understand is not redeemed within our events. We want to make sure that we stray away from getting too intoxicated and keeping them safe beyond all costs.
Thank you. David?
I would be sure to let whoever's serving know, first of all. Then I would be sure to divert any attention from the situation. I would probably pull them aside. If it needs to be a private conversation, I would 100% grab someone else who is sober, just to make sure like everything is cool, there's a witness, everything's fine. I would chat to the person, get them some water, make sure they're in like a good enough state that we can get them to a safe place, whether that be home or somewhere else. Because as Isabella said, it is really about their safety, but it's also about the enjoyment of everyone else. And you don't want someone who's at that state to be ruining it for anyone else.
Thank you. Our next question goes to Ray. Hey y'all, I have a question for Ray. As a member of the executive team, you are responsible for a budget. What is your experience with dealing with finance and holding accountability in regards to money?
Awesome. Thank you for that question. Number one, in regards to personal experience with financing, my own financing, using my own budget. A good project we had actually last year was budgeting for our year, for your whole year, whether that pertains to paying rent, groceries, other things like that. So that's something that I'm accustomed to, that I continue to do, as well as being proficient with Excel, which is normally the software that is used for budgeting. So being proficient in that is something I have as well. In terms of accountability, I think with a budget, whoever has access to those funds should have access to the budget itself, as well as people who are able to sort of request money from that budget should also have access to it as well. In terms of accountability, along with the budget, also having a list, making sure that everyone is sort of submitting an expense report if they are using funds from the budget, an expense report that could be done either on on a spend to spend basis, or whether it be done monthly or yearly, just to make sure we're tracking where funds are going, who's using them, exactly what has been paid for, and making sure that we understand that we have a limited amount of funds, and making sure that we're still pertaining to what the budget includes. Thank you. Great question.
Thank you. Next question is for our first year reps. So please try to keep this short just because of the time. What are your plans? Oh, sorry. What plans do you have for handling with any mental health issues that first years may experience during these difficult times? Let's start with Isabel.
That's a great question. So I actually have a couple of plans already. You've probably heard me talk about this before, but I really want to create something like a support group where people feel it could be drop in, or you could stay and you could talk about whatever you want, and I'm here to listen, and everybody is here to create a safe community where you can talk about anything you feel safe about. Also, I want to dedicate a specific time or any time of my day to talk to whoever is willing to contact me about anything. I'm also going to reach out to all of you at some point during the year and do a check-in, see how you're doing, if there's any concerns you have, and I could pass that on to whoever could help you. I would also like to use the arts to promote self-expression and creative art therapy groups as well, because we're artists here and that's what we're here for. And we should be able to use our passions and our talents in the arts to create something beautiful out of it, despite everything that's going on. Oh, sorry.
Okay, no worries. Just trying to keep it short. Lucas. Oh, Lucas, we can't hear you.
Sorry, I have an independent mute feature on my mic and I keep turning it off for some reason. Anyways, as someone who struggled with a whole slew of mental health issues in the past, I've learned many different techniques that can help us to keep our brains in check and keep both hands on the wheel. Obviously, I'm not a trained professional, but I have two plans. One for more introverted people and one for more extroverted people, because I know obviously the way their brain works is a little bit different, and the way they cope with things is obviously different as well. So my extroverted plan would entail more social events like over Zoom. So things like game nights, things like, and like Isabel said, just sort of group discussions and things like that, where people can just air out whatever is bothering them. They can come to vent, they can come to, it's a no bars held sort of thing where you can just sort of let everything go. In a public setting where you'll be supported, you won't be judged. And obviously our game nights will help people to just interact and sort of get their mind off the things that are like worrying them or bothering them. And my more introverted plan is, like I said, sort of a more independent wire between me and students independently who have issues they can address with me, and I will work personally with them to try to help them out as much as I can. If it does reach a point where I can't help anymore, I will reference them to one of York's many services, and whichever one will fit their issue specifically. Yeah.
Let's go to Keisha.
Hi. So I feel like I would probably just like direct message like the individual, or just like Isabel said, check up on people every once in a while just to see like how they're doing and how their mental health is. And I feel like because it's so important to keep these things between the person and you, and privacy is so important. So you shouldn't be sharing this information with other people. It should be confidential. So I'll probably just message the person.
Awesome, thank you. Let's go with Megan.
Hi. So first I'd like to say the monthly check-ins, and I really like calling it art therapy. I think that's very, very intelligent to say, because I do believe that's a great word for it. Next, I just want to say that I do work closely with the Access Mental Health Center. So I do have that experience and something to bring forward for the actual mental awareness thing. I constantly on my Instagram am promoting the groups that they hold. Currently, there's an ADHD group. My sister's running it. So if you have any questions, you could always come to me for that. So I do have that openness with what's going on in the Access Center community. So like I said, yep, directly open communication, but not everybody is comfortable with coming to a complete stranger. So if you just want to come to me and get directed to somebody who could actually give you professional help, I'm always here to do that.
Awesome, thanks. And last but not least, Christina.
Yeah, so a lot of what other people have already said, I think support is always really, really important. Having some friend groups, it doesn't necessarily have to be like with the first year rep in the group or a member of council, but they could be not pre-made, but sort of made groups to bring people with similar issues together just to talk. But also, so group support and also personal support, it always depends on the situation. Another thing is like, I'm not a trained professional when it comes to mental health or speaking with people about mental health. So there's only so far that we can all go when it comes to helping people out. And I think it's really, really important to have the resources to the different things that are available at York for mental health issues posted and constantly reminding people that there are all these resources. I think that's really important. And but also having mental health awareness for everybody to make sure that everybody is aware of things that could be going on.
Amazing, thank you. For our residents, we got a question for y'all. What events do you have in mind for Winter's Res folks? Let's start off with Joe.
So I actually have a few ideas of what we could do. Coming from Frosh, the heads of Frosh created some great events that I would like to take inspiration from. We had a movie night one night that was a little tricky to sort out the first time. It kind of went on a trial and error, but once we got it going, it actually went really well. We watched Aladdin, the original. Great, Robin Williams, love it. We also had multiple games nights where we would play something like Among Us for a few hours or other things, Scriblio. We would play Jackbox party games. Or if you're not interested in games nights, there's also the paint nights that we did. We also had fun with like kind of a talent show kind of thing and jam sessions. It's hard to jam with other people in a music setting right now. So we had more of a talent show where people could come and just show off their talents, play a song, sing with other people. All of those I think would be really helpful. It would definitely go into the whole bringing all the arts out in Winter's Res.
Thank you. Grace?
Yeah, everything Joe said like sounds so perfect, and it's stuff that I've been thinking about as well. Even doing things like because we're allowed 3 people in our common rooms right now, so doing things like a Mario Kart tournament or a Smash tournament with people who have those devices that are willing to share them, as well as right now because it's getting up to like the holiday season, especially with Halloween right around the corner. I think it would be so fun. Like this was like in a specific event I was thinking of. It would be so fun to do like online pumpkin carving. And so that we can either put them outside res, like in our little courtyard, or even like if you have fake pumpkins, decorating our hallways. I know right down my hall, there's someone in my hall who has started decorating, and we've, gone to each of our doors and we've started putting stuff in. And there's been whispers around doing like trick-or-treating, so everyone putting like a bowl of candy outside their door, and then like obviously we're gonna have masks and like staying safe on who's gonna go around, but we have all day to do that. So little things like that, and those are just 2 specific ones I was thinking of.
Awesome, thank you. Our next question is for promo. In the event that the rest of the year is online, what are some promotion ideas you might have that will keep all the promotion fresh and never get stale?
Yeah, so like I mentioned before, I want to use a lot more mix of video and poster, and like maybe like some of the live posters. Like one of the posters that I posted today was kind of had some like live elements to it. One thing that I really like is like color themes and stuff like that. So I want to take a color theme, like a color for every month, and like dedicate that month to that color and use like that color for everything in that month, just so everything's like neatly like organized. And even like having people like take over the Instagram to talk about certain events or stuff like that, I think that'd be super cool. And also making use of the Facebook a lot more, the Discord, the Instagram, and the website, just so it's accessible to anyone. And maybe I don't even know if we have a Twitter account, so maybe even get jumping on the Twitter and tweeting a little bit, just that could be fun too.
Amazing, thank you. We got one more question for Ray. How do you plan to get constituents excited about intramurals that are running this year, regardless of how different they might be?
Awesome. Great question. I think the first thing is just to make sure that everyone knows exactly what events Intramurals is doing right now. So as I mentioned earlier, they are doing badminton still, which I believe is still on campus and still happening in person, but as well as their bingo nights and their trivia nights. Making sure that people have access to IM leagues is definitely the first step for that. From those circ meetings as well, a lot of things will be talked about in terms of IM leagues and intramurals in general. Making sure that that information is also kind of translated back to council, back to Winter's constituents. Along with that too, I think definitely working with potentially working with other people in council, especially promo, making sure that the different ways that we can promote intramurals, whether it's through posters, through kind of online accounts, things like that. Making sure that through whatever medium I can provide or we can provide, that everyone has equal information and equal opportunity to participate in intramurals this year.
Awesome, thank you. And our last question, it's more of a fun question, but I thought I'd ask it anyways, is pineapple on pizza? This is for everyone. Something fun to end with. Alrighty, let's start with Keisha.
I actually love pineapple on pizza. I like how it's like a combination of like sweet and salty. So yeah, I really like it.
Awesome. Emma?
Despite being the Italian that I am, I love pineapple on pizza. It is fabulous. Please don't attack me for that.
Isabel?
I actually am a fan of pineapple on pizza as well. You know, it goes with what we stand for at Winters. Everyone deserves to feel represented and appreciated, and we should not leave pineapple out.
Isabella?
I adore pineapple on pizza. I think it's the perfect tropical blend. I think it adds some spontaneous flavor here and there. I think it's just perfect. So everyone should love it.
Joe?
You can put whatever you want on pizza. I worked at Domino's when I was in high school. You wouldn't imagine some of the weird stuff people put on pizza. One time I had someone put jalapenos, anchovies, pineapple, and green olive on a pizza. Like, you could put whatever you want on it. One of my favorite pizzas, one of my top like 5 is like a Hawaiian pizza, extra cheese with barbecue sauce instead of tomato sauce. It's pretty good. You should try it.
Lucas?
As a proud Italian, I must take this opportunity to denounce pineapple on pizza. Okay? It is an atrocity to pizza. Okay? As much as I hate discrimination, pineapple is the one fruit you are allowed to discriminate against on pizza. I hate it. I despise it. You will not see me within 10 feet of a pizza that has pineapple on it. It is not happening. It's not. If I see you eating pineapple on pizza, you're out. Like, you're gone. Like, don't even come near me. Okay, that was a joke. You can come near me. But still, I'm keeping my eye out for you. I'm watching.
Okay. Christina?
I'm kind of boring. I like pineapple on Hawaiian pizza, but I'm not just going to throw it on random pizza willy-nilly, but it's good on Hawaiian.
David?
Okay, like, I have no authority when it comes to pizza because I just cover mine in cheese and olives, which I feel like most people would hate. But hands down, my least favorite thing on pizza is pineapple. Like what you like, I hate it.
Megan?
Like Joe, I have worked at a pizza place for a year and I've seen some weird combinations. The hate towards pineapple in this room is absurd. I love pineapple on pizza. I think it's great. I have seen some orders. I've seen no cheese, just beef on pizza. All right. So I'm just saying, pineapple is not the worst thing. Stop coming for it because it's good with barbecue sauce. Okay. Like, just try it out, please. I'm begging you.
Ray?
Allow me to express a small tale. I too was once like Lucas and David, not the enjoyer of pineapple in general. Actually, I will say though, you cannot knock it until you try it. Pineapple on pizza. Pineapple on pizza.
Okay, and last but not least, Grace.
To each their own. Pineapple's not my thing, let alone with ham. I'm sorry, I just can't. I cannot. To each their own, ladies and gents and everyone in between. To each their own.
Amazing. Thank you all so much. And firstly, thank you so much to everybody watching on YouTube Live. This was our fall election debate for the 2020 year. Thank you so much. We have our voting period. I have to look at my calendar for that. October 8th at 9 a.m. till October 10th at 9 p.m. Yes, I have so many dates in my brain right now. But yes, be sure to vote. Our links for the voting period will be in our WCC Instagram account. Once again, thank you to our candidates. All your responses were lovely. It was lovely to get to know you all. And everyone be sure to vote. Yeah. Thank you so much for attending. I hope you all have an amazing night and get some pizza because you all deserve it. Pineapple or not, go get it. Okay.